In the 1980s, cartoonist Alison Bechdel observed a frustrating trend in pop culture. Most films only had a single female character. And when there were multiple women in a film, their storylines almost always revolved around men.
Just call him. Say hello. He's in my book club. Why is there a woman in this picture? It's his wife.
This realization inspired her to create a comic called The Rule. I only go to a movie if it satisfies 3 basic requirements. 1, it has to have at least 2 women in it, who 2, talk to each other, about 3, something besides a man. These requirements form the foundation of the Bechdel test, which has become a tool used to call attention to gender inequality in pop culture. For example, this scene fails the Bechdel test.
Who's Alan's friend? Hugh. He's a bit of a cad, actually. So my type, then.
While this scene passes it.
And you have no style or sense of fashion.
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
Bechdel credits the idea for the test to her friend Liz Wallace, who was inspired by Virginia Woolf's essay, A Room of One's Own. Woolf writes, "All these relationships between women are too simple, and I tried to remember any case in the course of my reading where 2 women are represented as friends. They are now and then mothers and daughters, but almost without exception, they are shown in their relation to men."
Whatever we do, we always want to look our very best. I mean, why imagine if our husbands saw us in worn, dark, urban sweat clothes with stringy hair and almost no makeup.
Even though Woolf's essay is over 90 years old, limited female representation in pop culture persists today. A survey of 120 films by the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media revealed that only 31% of the named characters were female, and 23% of the films had a female protagonist or co-protagonist.
Okay, I'm a lady, she's a lady, you're a lady, we're the ladies.
The website BechdelTest.com is a user-generated list of over 6,500 films that catalogs which films pass the test, with the added requirement that the female characters must be named. And while the requirements to pass might seem simple, there are an enormous amount of very successful films that fail.
We're ranking girls. You mean other students? Yeah.
As the Bechdel test gained popularity, it also became the subject of intense scrutiny, because some people assumed that films that failed the test were automatically considered bad. Bechdel never intended for the test to be a way to comment on the quality of a film, and she admits that her favorite film doesn't pass the test.
I don't really follow this scheme in my real life.
What's your favorite movie?
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day does not pass the Bechdel test.
Majorly fails.
Majorly fails the Groundhog Day.
Another important distinction to make is that the Bechdel test is not a way to evaluate whether a film is feminist. For example, the film Gravity fails the Bechdel test, while Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back music video does pass the test.
Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt.
Andy Zeisler, co-founder of Bitch Media, wrote of the test, "Bechdel and Wallace expressed it as simply a way to point out the rote, unthinkingly normative plot lines of mainstream film. It was never meant to be a measure of feminism, but rather a cultural barometer." What Zeisler means is that the Bechdel test is most effective when applied on a universal level. When hundreds of successful films struggle to pass the requirements, it's important to reflect on how this impacts the way audiences are conditioned to think about women. Says NPR's Netta Ulaby about the test.
It articulates something often missing in popular culture. Not the number of women we see on screen, but the depth of their stories and the range of their concerns.
You're good at hiding stuff, huh?
My mom calls it compartmentalizing. Apparently I do that a lot.
Bechdel's test has inspired others to create their own tests based on race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. Other tests being developed through 538.com look at the diversity of the crews making up these projects. And hopefully by continuing to give creative power to women, audiences will be exposed to even more complex, compelling, and relatable stories of female friendship and accomplishments.
Thank you for getting me into the league, Daddy.
You got yourself in the league. I got you on the train.
In 2017, the top 3 grossing films all passed the Bechdel test with flying colors. So even though gender inequality is still prevalent, progress is being made. And the characters from Bechdel's original comic would have more options at the box office today than they did in 1985.